Welcome to Element, the place where myth meets reality. Tom DeLonge, founder of To the Stars Academy, recently uploaded a post on Instagram claiming that multiple US attack submarines somehow had a UFO pinned underwater against the North Atlantic coast. There are thousands of declassified UFO encounters, most of which are aerial. A story like this doesn't really seem too out there for those who have researched the topic, and it seems more probable given Tom and his team's reputation. The idea of unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, is no longer taboo and has been officially verified by multiple governments around the world, including the United States. These objects are often tracked on military radars and seen by the pilots, who are sent out to take a closer look. There have been millions of pages of UFO-related documents declassified, detailing these encounters. Hundreds of testimonies from credible people within the military, intelligence, and government agencies exposed, and tons of electro-optical data and physical evidence released. In 1979, General Carlos Cavero told the world that everything has been in a process of investigation, both in the United States and in Spain, as well as the rest of the world. On a global scale, the nations of the world are currently working together in the investigation of the UFO phenomenon, and there is an international exchange of data. There are tons of similar, reputable statements like this out there, including the following one made by the first CIA director, Roscoe H. Hillenkotter. Behind the scenes, high-ranking Air Force officers are soberly concerned about UFOs. But through official secrecy and ridicule, many citizens are led to believe that unknown flying objects are nonsense. Despite the vast amount of evidence in support of extraterrestrial and UFO phenomena, the secrecy campaign is still ongoing, influencing the minds of the masses and convincing people that it's all a conspiracy theory. Perception manipulation is a tool frequently used by the powers that be in all areas, especially within the political realm. Whether it be a former chairman of the Royal Navy telling us that there is a serious possibility that we are being visited and have been visited by people from outer space, a former chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Barry Goldwater, stating that I do know that whatever the Air Force has on the subject is going to remain highly classified, or an Apollo 14 astronaut saying that, yes, there have been crashed craft and bodies recovered. There is no shortage of high-ranking insiders attesting to the reality of this phenomenon. However, this goes far beyond mere witness testimonies. One of the biggest mouthpieces for the establishment, the New York Times, admitted something that the establishment has been concealing for years. UFOs are real. The Times broke the story about a secret Pentagon program about UFOs, but any UFO researcher knows that these programs are far more in-depth, expensive, and expansive than anything that's described within the article. This was then followed by a Washington Post article written by Christopher Mellon, a member of To the Stars who spent 20 years in the federal government, holding prestigious roles, including the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence in the Clinton and Bush administrations. To the Stars is a company founded by the musician Tom DeLonge, which aims to inspire a newfound appreciation for the profound yet unresolved mysteries involving science and the universe, including UFO phenomena. All of a sudden, after these articles, UFOs were perceived as real within the mainstream media. Many have criticized Tom DeLonge and To the Stars, claiming that the company is a deep state operation looking to bring about misinformation about UFOs. Some will post pictures of Tom DeLonge with John Podesta, for example, and claim that he is one of them. However, I do not believe these accusations. It's similar to Harvey Weinstein being pictured with Oprah. A single image doesn't make Oprah a rapist or a supporter of sexual misconduct. And we shouldn't judge others based on a photograph or who they spend their time with. Tom might be completely unaware of Podesta's reputation, as it's quite clear his main interest is the UFO extraterrestrial phenomenon. DeLonge has done nothing but good for the UFO movement and has inspired massive awareness surrounding the subject. Perhaps we should be more concerned with the transparency of the US government than with Tom DeLonge's motives. So far, the US government has proven that they cannot be trusted when it comes to being transparent about this subject. This is why it's okay to have concerns about where the mainstream disclosure movement is headed and whether or not it's rooted in goodwill. It's evident that politicians are becoming more and more persuaded and coerced by corporations and the global elite, something Roosevelt referred to as the invisible government that sits enthroned behind the ostensible government. Another great quote. The real menace of our republic is the invisible government, which, like a giant octopus, sprawls its slimy legs over our cities, states, and nation. The little coterie of powerful international bankers virtually run the United States government for their own selfish purposes. John F. Hylan, Mayor of New York City from 1918 to 1925. It remains to be seen where To the Stars will take this, but I fully believe that if there are some sort of sinister intentions within To the Stars, Tom and most of the team probably have no idea about it. So far, things are looking good, and they've done nothing but create awareness. The team he assembled is actually pretty extraordinary, as their backgrounds are quite impressive, and Tom deserves all the credibility he's garnered. Sure, there is no evidence that his claims are true, like the image pictured below, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't entertain his thoughts, especially given the fact that thousands of similar encounters have been reported. Why would multiple nuclear attack submarines do this, you may ask? As an avid researcher into the field of UFOs for nearly half of my life, I can confidently say that not only are there unidentified crafts performing maneuvers that defy our own laws of aerospace and physics, but these crafts have been spotted entering and exiting our oceans as well. This is something that's still new to many UFO researchers, just entering the field now. I'd like to highlight one thing here. After decades of military encounters, it seems that protocol for multiple governments is to try and shoot these crafts down. Below is a quote from Dr. Stephen Greer, creator of the most popular documentary on Netflix last year, Unacknowledged. Greer is well known for the Disclosure Project, where he amassed hundreds of military intelligence personnel with verified backgrounds to come together and share their testimonies and experiences regarding UFOs and extraterrestrial intelligence. Here is a great quote from Paul Hellyer. Decades ago, visitors from other planets warned us about where we were headed and offered to help, but instead we, or at least some of us, interpreted their visits as a threat and decided to shoot first and ask questions later. The inevitable result was that some of our planes were lost, but how many were due to retaliation and how many were a result of our own stupidity is a moot point. By the way, the preservation of the planet, Colonel Ross Dedrickson, from this interview with Dr. Greer, is a common theme in extraterrestrial lore. However, this is not to say that some malevolent forces aren't at work as well. Who really knows? If you're interested in learning more, here's a related CE article. This planet will be theirs. Professor explains his startling conclusions about alien abductions. Dr. David Clark, an investigative journalist, reader and lecturer at Sheffield Hallam University in England and the former curator of the National Archives UFO project from 2008 to 2013, outlined what some of the UK documents say regarding this type of technology. These documents reveal how the RAF expressed great interest in finding UFOs to help come up with new and innovative ways to become their enemies during the Cold War. Apparently, they were gathering evidence that other nations had collected this technology. Having been an avid researcher into the field myself for more than a decade, I can confidently say that stories of crash retrievals of unknown aerial objects are abundant. Roswell is certainly not the only example. Dr. Clark told the Daily Mail, "Even though they have been partly censored, they can't conceal the fact that UK military were interested in capturing UFO technology, or what they coyly referred to as novel weapon technology. And the files reveal they were desperate to capture this technology, wherever it came from, before the Russians or the Chinese got hold of it first. Although this was 1997, Russia was still regarded as an undefeated enemy with a weapons program regarded as a threat to the West. What makes us think this planet belongs to us? What right do we have to shoot down intelligently controlled crafts that may have been around for decades? Clearly, if there was a threat associated with them or some type of Armageddon scenario, it would have happened already. All the global military-industrial complex wants to do is find out what's going on and what's inside these crafts, even if that means disregarding basic morals. These are not actions we should be proud of, as they highlight just how difficult it may be for any potential outside visitors to explore our planet. Does the elite actually care about the preservation of our planet? Or do they only care about looking out for their own interests, regardless of the implications their actions have on others? The extraterrestrial UFO phenomenon truly leaves no area of humanity untouched. The implications on spirituality and human consciousness are huge, and it's a topic that will eventually force us to take a closer look at who we are, where we come from, how we treat our planet, and why we are so much more than the bodies we inhabit. Thanks for choosing Element. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe.